Birthday Hawa, birthday Hawa Shai, birthday Hawa, birthday Hawa Shai, call Haloi Mahawa, Alhaina Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Kogodash. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bashem Kogodash, the blessed to the elder apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone, who all. Peace and salutation to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shemai Amap, my name is Amapa, Mayan Gabola Rakub, from the great millstone Plaintables camp, located here in the city of Philadelphia. I'm the mighty Ma'ik. Come on, lesson, little are we lesson. Actually, I have a correction. This is a correction. The brother from Canada, GMS, under the handle GMS concentration is key Ga. He actually was doing a live stream lesson in which he brought this precept, which I believe was Genesis 25 and 22, which it reads in English, and the children being Jacob and that'd be Jacob and Esau, I believe. Yeah, Jacob and Esau. And the children struggled together within her, being Rebekah or Rebecca. And she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of Yahweh. Alright, so I believe from my memory, the brother in his live stream went to this word in the Hebrew right here, which is Strong's H7533, and it means to crush. Okay, to get crushed, to crush each other, struggle together, which that would have to be wrestling, trying to pin and grapple, or basically, as it says, oppress, be grievously oppressed, figuratively crush, so that was a fight. Okay, and they even got break in some of the Strongs translate in the following manner for different words there. So in the actual lesson, I think the brother was pronouncing the word, and I was watching the video, and I think the brother had mentioned that he didn't recall what was pretty much how to pronounce maybe the last character possibly. I have to double check, Slocky, if I'm wrong, but I briefly had looked at it, and I had said, as you can see in the proof from the live stream chat, that Ratazai is correct, right? Because the brother may have said Ratazai. The last character is a I. Now, actually, a correction. The word, the last character is a final Taza. Okay, so you have it here, which I should probably pull up the Hebrew characters and such, but just to make it very brief, I went to the Syrian or Aramaic script, Syrian Aramaic script, modern Hebrew, and of course the older video from the classic page GMS Lashawan Kodash, Apostle Ramlab. Ramlab has this Saki, if I mispronounce his name, he has basically a lesson in which he was distinguishing the different characters, because in the Assyrian, unlike the Paleo Hebrew, they have like these final or enders. I believe is just described final. Let me see. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play it so you can hear. But the character right here, this is a I in the Syrian, and it doesn't have a ender character. All right, oppose to the Taza. Alright, which the Taza does have that. This would be at the end. Alright, if you see the Taza like this, it would be in the, what, as the apostle had explained, in the middle. Let me see.
Assyrian Hebrew.
So we'll go over it.
I want to go through here and show you the difference between a regular letter and a final letter. Like,
yeah, so a final letter. Okay. You had the regular letter, and then you had the final letter. Remember, going to here, this would be the final letter. Okay. If I can find the, I'm not, let me see if I can maybe possibly zoom in. I think I could just like press plus on my, yeah, plus, command plus. Alright, so I'm gonna try to do that. Alright, so yeah, here you go. So you have here, you have a Ra. I believe this is a Taza, and this would be another Taza. Okay. Which let me see. I'm gonna look up GMS Hebrew alphabet. Let me see something. I'm gonna try to pull up a Hebrew alphabet if I can. I don't have it on this computer. Alright, so I should probably download it. Usually you have a Hebrew alphabet, and it has both the ancient or the paleo script, and then you have the other modern Assyrian. Now give me a moment. This is an I character, and you see how it like tapers off, right? But then you have this Taza, which you see the Taza, you know, has kind of similar characteristics, but it goes straight down. Okay, and as an ender is the ender letter. Okay, for a Taza, it's still a Taza, just an ender. Okay, character. Now, as you can see here, and it goes straight down, so that will be a Taza, opposed to, and this is be a Taza as well. This is a Taza ender. Okay, so I believe you properly pronounced that as Ra Taza Az. Okay, Ra Taza Az. In the spirit. Yeah, so it's not Ra Taza I. This is not an I character. Again, because the I character looks like this in the Assyrian. Okay. So you can see it there, or modern Hebrew script, or Aramaic as they would say. Alright, so that's there. So let's see. So I just gotta make that clear, because I don't want misinformation to be out there. I did make a mistake here. So the Spirit of the Lord had guided me to correct the mistake that's been done. So Salakia. Let me see. Let me zoom out. Okay, so I'm gonna go and maybe get like a precept, because we have to rightly divide the word of truth. And the Hebrew being our language, it's a part of our teachings. It says here in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 20 and 18, to slip upon a pavement is better than to slip with the tongue. So the fall of the wicked shall come speedily. Okay. You have another precept that says heart, tongue. Let's see if I can get this other precept. And then, like a lot of things with the Hebrew, like just take repetition. That's all. Just repetition, reading it. That's how I've improved at it over time. I'm trying to think. There's a precept that I want. If a brother know that precept, it speaks about basically slip not with your tongue but not with your heart or something like that. Slip by the tongue but not by your heart. Like you ain't really making attention within your heart to make a error, but you may have uttered it or something like that, because the intention obviously is not to go off on the Hebrew or in any of the teachings which we do. Okay, we have to rightly divide the word of truth as it tells you in Timothy's, right? And it is a labor to interpret Hebrew and stuff like that too, so I'll bring that out as well. 2 Timothy 2:15, it says here, study to show thyself approved, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay, the thing about Great Millstone, we study spadazo. All right, Greek to Hebrew, which studying goes into exert oneself, to give diligence. You got to give that constant effort, be prompt or earnest. Prompt cause or bring about an actual action or feeling. Let's actually look more into prompt. Like I was like ready to address. I'm like, oh shoot. See, I gotta get the word better. Prompt. Let's see. I want to pull up in the etymon. Prompt means to incite to action or urge forward. Like I'm prompt. I'm like, hey, you gotta do something. Readiness. You gotta have that readiness. Okay. Okay. So you gotta have that readiness. Okay, as well. A workman that needs not to be ashamed, because you go off, you add to take away from the scriptures. There's a punishment for that. Okay. So we want to be clear, in our teachings and make sure the doctrine is correct. Simple as that. All right. And let me see. I'm gonna go into the prologue of Sirach real quick, and you'll see it. It speaks about it. Prologue. So it says here in the prologue of the Sirach, it speaks about, I'll start here, read the mess on it both. Actually, I'll just start from the top. It says the prologue of the wisdom of Yahushua, the son of Sirach. It says, whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps, for the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom. Okay, so contained here in this book. Okay, it says, and whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without. Okay, so the readers must needs become skillful themselves. All right, as you can see, I'm giving an example. But also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Yahushai, when he had given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and the other books of our fathers, and had gotten there in good judgment, was drawn on himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those which are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in up in living according to the law. So that's what this is. You gotta be addicted, to this truth, okay, to learning, seeking it. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention, as you can see. Okay, and to pardon us, whereas we may seem to come short of some words which we have labored to interpret, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them, and not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. So obviously, when I'm converting and translating words and etc. for the learners, I want to make sure it's on point so the force can be there. Because the word there means to crush, and it's ratazaz possibly, because it's a taza and another taza. I put it all together, ratazaz, basically. Brother can go over this if they want, but this is not a I character. This is a taza. As we proved, going back to the older lesson, and you can go look into the characters. That's a taza, long stem, ender letter.
Like before I start there, see you got here, these are the regular letters in the Aramaic, Assyrian, Hebrew, which is that's what we have, the Torah is written in. And as you read through here, you see, like I told you brothers before, I left certain ones of these letters empty without putting a pronunciation underneath it. The reason for that is because this ka here, this is a regular ka. When the word starts with a ka, or the word is somewhere in the middle, or the ka is somewhere in the middle, you use this ka here.
Alright, so, and the same applies to the taza.
But then when the when the word ends in a ka, you use the final ant ka, which is this ka here. Same thing with the ma. There's the regular ma, the final ma, the regular na, the final na, the regular pa, the final pa, and the regular taza, and the final taza.
Yep, taza. I say like taza, but taza. Alright, taza.
So I'm going to show you here in the Torah. When you're reading through the Torah, you'll see, like, this is, I put the letter ka here, right? This is a regular ka, right? So you would use this ka here whenever a word begins with that letter ka, or when it's in the middle of the actual word.
If you skip, but the taza, the apostle elder had noted, this would be an ender taza, as you can see here in green, and corresponding you have here In the middle, in this case, I believe, a Taza as well. This would be an ender letter of the character, but this is the same letter um, character, but not a ender one. The ender looks like that, and this is when it's a regular um, was in the beginning or in the middle, I believe, as he mentioned possibly.
But now when the word ends in a ka, this is the ka that you would use. All right. Now I'm going to give you an example of that. Here you have the word marakab, right?
Marakab, which hey, I didn't know. See, it's great going back to these older lessons. Marakab is a chariot. I know that word from looking that up in the Hebrew, and that's how you get better at um, reading Hebrew. Is you keep going over and over the stuff in the Syrian script, because you're gonna see it mainly in that Syrian. Okay, brothers that watch my lessons know I constantly go, into like reading Hebrew in the spirit, you know. But even I can make an error, and so I have to correct it. Simple as that, which is good. I don't want to go off and have brothers reading wrong,
Now the
not pronouncing words wrong.
word marakab means chariot. Okay. Now you notice here there's a ka here, but this ka is not at the end. It's within the middle of the word, or sometimes it might be at the beginning.
So I'm gonna go.
So the word,
I'm gonna go to the Taza.
that's what.
So you got the Hebrew word Tazadak, which means righteous, right? You should know this word, Taza da nakwa, right? Tazadak. All right. When you get good at the Hebrew from seeing these over and over and over from reading, you'll see reading Hebrew, you'll see a lot of these words constantly, over and over, and in the text. Okay.
Well, you would use this regular tazah. Same way if it was in the middle, you would use the same tazah. But now when the tazah is at the end of a word, like
Arataza, right? There you go, like earth. Okay. You have the ender Taza character. All right, as he's gonna explain.
in the word arataza, which means earth, you will use the final tazah. All right, tazah at the beginning
You see it?
for tazadak, righteous. Tazah for the end, like in the word arataza, which means earth. All right, so that's the difference,
Yeah.
There's 5 letters in the Hebrew and the Assyrian or the Aramaic.
So Arataza, you know, right there. You got is it Ratazaz or Rataza. I don't think it would be Rataza, Taza, or Rataza, Taza. So it's in the spirit. But yeah. This is the main point. This is not a I character. It's an Ender Taza. All right, so that's it through the spirit. There's more, precepts I can go into, but that's pretty much the correction I wanted to make. All right. So I'll probably title this Taza character distinguishing in the Assyrian script or something like that. That sort, modern Hebrew, so brothers can know the difference. So shalom to the elect. I'm gonna have to show the brother this too. At the correction, I made a correction to the error I made. So missing. So Slakia. Shalom to the elect. All praise the Abba Shem Shai Kadash. And remember, iron sharpeneth iron. So it's good that we provoke each other to better works. We can learn and eat off each other. Get better at Hebrew. Can't ever thank yourself, because remember, knowledge but puff it up. Like, yeah, I know all the Hebrew already. I'm not that type of person. Always learning. So, shalom to you, like all praise to Yahweh Shem Hashai Shem Kakadash.